Hey guys, it's Manga Reads and it's time for my One Piece manga chapter 872 review. And guys, this chapter was pure fire, but before we set the flames ablazing, there was a note from Oda Sensei at the beginning of the chapter. In my live reaction, I never spent too much time reading it because I wanted to get to the chapter, get a live reaction done and up so I could get to the review. Now guys, I would like to take a look at that letter from Oda Sensei, and I really like it, so let's take a look at that before we get started. It says, and I quote, "Let's see, how old are you? 20 years ago, were you alive? Back then, Luffy was 17 years old, and now, 20 years later, he's 19. Wait a second. So I understand, when I was doing the live reaction, I was like, that doesn't make sense. But I understand, but because the time between now in our lifespan and the time in One Piece, it's two different time continuums, so it's perfectly normal. So it took 20 years for Oda to complete 2 years of Luffy's life. Although it seems a little bit far-fetched, given that 20 years ago we started One Piece. You know what? Oda said it, it's true. Oda said it, it's true. Now it says, did you know that Luffy received his straw hat from a certain person? In the very beginning, Luffy set out to sea all alone. He didn't have any friends. One Piece has a lot of flashback scenes, but they're there for one reason. They started when I thought I could get you all to feel like you really know these characters, because you've been with them since they were children. Things like, oh, Luffy's been terrible at telling lies since he was a kid. Or, he used to be such a crybaby. Or, he's grown up so much. Or, he hasn't changed at all, and Zoro's and Nami's. And everyone else goes on. Because you have done me the favor of watching over them as they've grown, I feel like a deep bond has developed between you all and Luffy and his friends. Their story will certainly come to an end one day, but I would like nothing more than for you to continue to adventure with them till the end comes. Thank you for supporting me for these past 20 years. Bear with me for just a little longer." And that was from Oda Sensei. The original note is on the left. It's written in Japanese language. There's hiragana and some kanji I can see. And there's also some katakana from what I can see right off the bat. So guys, I am saving this picture. It's going up as my wallpaper. And I know Oda Sensei might not be watching this because I'm not one of the bigger YouTubers out there. But no, Oda Sensei, thank you for giving me One Piece. Guys, you might not know this, but One Piece made my life a lot better than it used to be. Anime on a whole, but I really love One Piece and I look forward to watching One Piece on a weekly basis. Though I don't like the anime very much because of the animation and what Toei has been doing. And even more so, I am fired up for the manga. You can see that in my live reaction. And I really love the characters. Even some of them that I don't like, I still love them somewhat. So guys, I appreciate Oda's work. I know you guys too. So let's continue to show Oda our support. Let's buy his merchandise. Let's buy the original copies of his work when we can. I know he doesn't do this for the money, but that's our way. That's my way, actually. I'll show him my appreciation because it's not like I can meet him and say thanks. Now, let's get back to the chapter. So, this chapter was mainly centered around the aftermath of the explosion. Now, last week it perhaps was in my live reaction, I was saying, no, it was in my review, I was saying that the clouds formed from the explosion of the Tamate buckle resembled those of a nuclear bomb. So that was really just to give you an insight as to how powerful that bomb was. And here we can see it splitting the freaking chateau in like, when it exploded, I want to think about this. When it exploded, it took out a small part of the Whole Cake Island Chateau. But now I'm beginning to think it was a really big piece it took out, because what happened was that the entire chateau started to fall at an angle. And that chateau was so big, as if you can look back at the panels where the chateau is falling, right before Strusen stops it. And the size of the chateau compared to Whole Cake City, well, it's a Whole Cake City, but compared to the town below, is exemplary of just how massive that structure is. And I'm thinking that the bomb had to took out a huge chunk of it for it to fall over. Because those of you who know something about construction and physics and whatnot, you know that not because there's a crack in the base means that the entire structure will come falling down. But I'm telling you guys, that bomb was something. If that had blown up in Big Mom's face, she would have lived. Because, you know, she's a Yonko. It would have been dishonorable for a Yonko to go out by the hands of a bomb. Yeah, that's what I think. But she would have some hurt on her. And towards the end of this chapter, you can see her losing her mind. She is berserk. She is going bat crap crazy. And there's something leaning on my mind. What if her craving comes up for that wedding cake that she can't get? And what if she tries to get it and somebody from her crew, really powerful, gets taken out? Guys, this is a very interesting turn in events. It's not particularly a twist. It's not particularly a plot twist or anything like that. We could have seen this coming if we've thought about it long enough. But guys, I really do like where this is going. And I think something really special is coming in the next 2 chapters. Because guess what? It's going to take us a day to get out of Big Mom territory. And don't get me wrong, not because we're out of Big Mom territory means we're in the clear. Now, there are 4 teams that we need to look at. Let's first look at the Fire Tank Pirates. They're going back to the hideout, I think. I think they're going back there. Because of the direction they went in. So I'm going to assume that they're going back to the hideout so they can leave. I imagine BH has its own ship. I imagine that the Vinsmokes themselves has also fled. They're going back to their palace on the sea, their kingdom on the sea. You know, we've seen that in the anime and we've seen it in the manga. And I don't know where the hell Caesar is going, but if I were him, I'm going up, I'm going up, and I'm going up above the clouds because Big Mom is coming. She's coming, people. Now let's get to our favorite team, Team Alpha, the Straw Hats. Brooke and Pedro, I suppose, are going back for the Shark Submerge. And that's in Whole Cake. That's in Whole Cake Island, near the town, near the city where Brooke and Pedro infiltrated the castle and they heard about Jimbe and stuff. So that's where that is. They have to go down by the Sweet River, if that's what it's called, and get back to the Sunny. Nami, Luffy, and the others are headed back to the Sunny. We saw Katakuri getting his arms together, and he's going specifically after the Straw Hats and the Fire Tanks. I don't think he gives a shit about the Vinsmokes, and I don't think that anybody really cares about Caesar at this point, because what happened is that it's mainly the Straw Hats and the Fire Tanks that have been really screwing up things, and this is something important. Katakuri specifically said that he's going after the Straw Hats with his crew, and Daifuku and his crew should go for the Fire Tank Pirates and bring back their heads. Is it possible that we will have a Katakuri versus Luffy and Sanji fight? If that happens, I am putting my money on Sanji and Luffy for the win. Guys, they'll be fighting for their freedom, they'll be fighting for their crew, they'll be fighting to get away, and I think that Katakuri would lose this one if it happens, because you know, there's a monkey wrench coming somewhere. It's gonna be really fire going forward. Now let's take a look at what happened to the chateau. The chateau itself was falling on the town and everyone was running for their lives, screaming. They were just like ants running from their feet. So, you know, they were never gonna get away. And Strusen used his ability to turn the entire chateau into, oh, that was something. I really do like what he turned it into. He turned the chateau into sponge cake and whipped cream. I don't know if you guys have had sponge cake before, but it's something similar to a Twinkie or a bell cake. It has a cream on the inside and it's really soft, it's really mushy. I'd love to be at Whole Cake right now, you know, I'd have to eat some of that. But guys, what's happening? The reason why I brought this up was that even though we saw that the city was going to be destroyed, even in my live reaction I mentioned that maybe Big Mom was going to save the people of her town. She was going to stop the chateau from falling and whatnot, but instead she fell onto Prometheus, was it? Yes, she fell onto Prometheus. Now, there is a weakness that I'm starting to find into Big Mom. If you can find a way to trigger her rage, right? If you can find a way to trigger her rage, it's quite possible that you can defeat her crew. You might not defeat her, but you can defeat her crew. Because if you might realize, even Smoothie, at over, her bounty is it's 950 or 850 million. Smoothie with a bounty of over 750 million stops dead in her tracks and she sees Big Mom going into a fit. And I think this attests to what can happen if her rage is not soothed, if she's not given what she wants. I have no doubt about it that Big Mom herself can take on Smoothie and Katakuri and all her siblings and beat them by herself. Because, you know, she seems to be such a powerhouse. And I'm saying this because if it's possible that you can trigger her rage, because the Straws has done it twice this time. They have triggered her rage for the food just now with the cake. And they destroyed the cake, they destroyed the Mother Caramel photo, and they fucked up the wedding. So they also triggered her back then. Though it's not a rage fit back then, I'm thinking that her emotions is her weakness. Not a typical woman, I don't mean to sound like that. But I'm saying that given that you can find a way to trigger her weak spots just like that, then it's possible for you to defeat her crew. Defeating her, however, is an entirely different story. Where does this fall among the Yonko? I don't know. I don't think Kaido himself has any weakness. I think that man, I think Kaido's only weakness is Kaido, really. I don't think Kaido has any weakness. And I'm pretty damn sure Blackbeard isn't the kind of guy you want to mess with anyway. He's stupid, but he's smart. You can't predict what he's thinking. So I think this chapter, it was really good. I think it was important because going forward, whatever happens now, it's going to be really brilliant. I really think that there's something else happening. I don't think it's going to be run to whole cake, get the shark submerged, get to the sun and leave. I don't think it's going to be that. Because remember how difficult it was getting in even with that map. And remember that, and this is important, remember when Mardi Monk, Urouge himself, the king, the man himself, the pirate king elect, Urouge, came down and destroyed that sweet commander. Big Mom came with Zeus and Prometheus and chased him to the ends of the earth. And this is Mardi Monk we're talking about, people. Guys, it's been Mangarees, it's been One Piece Manga Chapter 872 review. It's been Fire, it's been Lion, and it's been Zeus and Prometheus. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you did. And as usual, more good stuff coming your way.